Hello everyone, Ceri the Crafter here, that's C-E-R-I the Crafter, and today I'm here with basically a collage video. I was tidying up my studio, as I do quite periodically, and I came across these. And these are the spare pages from the digitals that I used to make the Bohemian Journal earlier this month. And what I'll do, if you haven't seen that one, I'll put a link in the description box below, because any questions or anything relating to this kit are covered in that. So we'll do with that. Now, I don't use digitals very often, and what I do is, if I've used a kit, which I have here, I try not to just put it in a drawer or a box. I do something with the spare pages so that I don't end up with them hanging around and I discover them in a few years' time and go, what are those all about? So all I'm going to do is I'm going to harvest these, and you'll see what I mean in a moment about that. Then I'm going to do a 12 by 12 collage, and I'm going to turn it into journal card bases because I'm a bit short on journal card bases. And then after I finish filming, any spare bits will go into my 12 by 12. And this, as you know, if you followed me, is where I create 12 by 12s and just basically keep them in case I need them for future projects. It's just a neater way for me to use it. And this was an old scrapbook that I found in my local thrift or charity shop, and it was about £3. That's $3.25, I think. So that's the way I store my stuff. So now, I'm not going to cut every one of these up on screen with you, but I am going to pull out the ones that are going to be kind of obvious, not as obvious. So, right, I like a cover sheet, so we'll put those to one side. This one, I'll cut that one for you. What I'll do is I will cut so many, and then after that I will stop the video, cut the rest up, and then we'll collage. So with this one, I won't cut this one up on screen, but it's kind of obvious. I'll cut a strip there, I'll cut a strip there, I'll cut it down there and cut it down there. That will then become a spare piece for ephemera as a focal point, and then I'll have pattern stuff on the sides. Very similar with this one. I'll cut. Actually, that might be one I do cut. Again here, cut. I will probably cut that out because that's a spare bit of ephemera. This one, I'll cut it down here, and I may cut it here, and then that will become something for a journal card. Likewise on that. Can't pull them apart. Likewise on that. So as you can see, I'll just pull elements out of these. This one is just obvious, chop. It'll be done. This one, what I will do is I will save this image. Actually, I'll do that one as well. Right, so we're going to work on these images that I've got here. These two can just go to one side, and if I think the cutting process is taking too long, I will edit this bit out. So I've got my guillotine with me because I prefer to work with a guillotine. Now, I am well known for saying that I don't normally tear collage sheets to pieces from digitals because they're usually too beautiful to do that. And why would I make a collage out of something that's already a collage? There are exceptions, like I can harvest things. I'm just taking the wording off this. There are situations in which I will take things to pieces. And the reason for that is that maybe I want sections of it for a certain theme. Right, so let's have a look. So this name strip here has got stuff on it, and obviously that's the name of the designer. It's not really calling to me, so that can just go to one side to be used another time. Bohemian Girl, that will go into my drawer where I've got all words and stuff like that, because I might use that in future. I might want the words. Now, these, I'll just trim the edge of that off. These images, even though they are the cover sheet, are beautiful. So I'm just going to come through and chop these down to about the right size. I will keep the ones that have got girls' faces on them separately, because these may become a focal point on my masterboard, or they may become a focal point on the journal cards once I've actually made the journal cards. Now, in this video, it's not my intent to do finished journal cards. I will take you as far as making the backgrounds and cutting it up so we can see what they turn into. But other than that, no. Now these ones here don't mean anything to anyone. So what I'm going to do is I'll cut these out, but then I'll cut these into squares below the chin so that they can be used as smaller elements. Maybe there'll be a small piece within the masterboard that I do that I can use a small square upon. And it's amazing when you take something out of context. Where's the line in this one? Or maybe that's all one. No, there is a line. Once you take something out of context, so I'm trying to find that line, then it doesn't look like the thing it started out as. I'll show you what I mean in a minute. So I've got these three pieces here. Let's move those to one side. I've got these three pieces here. So if I come in and I chop that, that's no longer a neck. It's just a piece of something. Let's put that with those. Again, it doesn't really look like there's a little bit of hair, and I'm going to take that edge off it because I wasn't accurate in my cutting. That could just be a something. Now that's obviously a pair of lips, so let's bring that down. And again, that now isn't a neck, it's just a piece of something. Why does that look really, really awkwardly cut? There you go. It's because I'm talking. So there you go, another element. Again, here, if I take this to be almost a square, then that gives me that. So out of just the cover sheet alone, I've got quite a nice little pile of pieces over there that I can collage with. Right, what's this one? Right, this is Bohemian Rhapsody. What am I talking about? Bohemian again. Now, I'm not sure I will use this wording. So what I'll do is I will harvest as much as I can off the ends. And then this will go into my words drawer, but I doubt, I mean, I could cut a thin strip out the middle, but there's a point at which I go, enough is enough. Right. That's on there. So I want to come in, I'm going to chop this down one side, chop off the other end, and chop the name out. So basically, I've saved myself the pieces, but I've got rid of Rachel and Bellacraft. Sorry, Rachel, no offense. It just happens to be that I don't need your name on what I'm doing in the next stage. Right, let's just cut this where it's logical to cut it. Because I'm going to be cutting some of these up anyway when it comes to making the pieces. So we've got that. Right, what's the next page look like? Okay, now this piece here, this caravan, is a lovely piece. But what I want to do is I will probably make it into a focal point on something. I just need to work out how small I can get it. I mean, I could fussy cut it, but that's a heck of a size. What is that? That's 5.5. That's way too big for what I'm considering. But all of the bits I'm chopping off the side will just add for more collage stuff. Actually, I think I can take a bit off the top there. See, even that little strip could become useful. So that gives me a focal point. I could chop it down a bit further. Shall I? Don't even know what that is. Let's take that bit off there. I think it might be a dog or a flower or something. So I will keep that to one side. It becomes a focal point. We might use it later. Right, this one is quite an easy job. I'm just going to harvest out of this the pieces that are useful. So of course, when you buy a digital, we all think of a digital as a kit, but actually I view them as a resource, and as a resource it means that I've got all of these lovely papers which have been chosen by a designer for me to use. So let's just chop this one up. So again, I've now got a focal point for a journal card. Now let's look at one more that may be a bit tricky, because I think I want to spend the time not doing the cutting. Right, this one will be a bit tricky to make decisions on, so I'm going to come in, I'm going to cut it down there, and I'm going to cut it at the bottom of the branches. So therefore that could be a journal card on its own. Right, let's go back to what was in here. So I've got little pieces here. I'll leave those little bits together. That's not a problem. Now this is another focal point. So I'm going to come in and cut this out of the image of the page. So again, that may become a focal point. If I put a label with it, or maybe a piece of fabric or a cluster or something, that would be another focal point. So I'm going to go through all of the rest of these and get them all cut up, and then I'm going to bring you back, and then we will start the collage process, because I don't want to waste time chomping and chomping and chomping and then have to edit half of it out. I already think you get the idea. Look into the pieces on the sheet and use them as you will. So I'm going to hit pause for 2 seconds, guys, and then I'll be back. And I'm back. So out of harvesting all of that, I've got some focal points, which I could even fussy cut that if I chose. Little elements that can get used. That is a big journal card. How big is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's pretty much a whole page. I could cover a journal page with that in one go. Focal point, focal point, focal point, focal point, focal point, or independent journal cards. I'll deal with those another time, not now unless I use them for later. Now, when a designer designs a kit, they normally deal with a style or a few colors or a shape. So Rachel obviously was working with a color palette here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to split these up into like-minded colors. Obviously there was a green color kit, there was yellow. So if I pull out the pieces who pretty much fall into their own groups, then that gives me the option, actually that was a focal point too, which then gives me the option to play with them. That can go to the green, that can go to yellow. I thought there was enough blues to have a blue kit as well. So let's just get that to one side, get that out of the way. So as you can see, so if you're doing a project that's maybe a color-based project, and there was reds as well, a color-based project, then you can easily, that's another focal point, then you can quite easily, that needs to be now, just chopping that bit off, because then that can go into the yellow kit, and this can go into this kit. Actually, all of that could go there. Again, chop that off. That goes to blue. Right, cream is a neutral, so that can go to ones. Actually, this could be neutrals down here as well. So green, browns and oranges, browns and oranges. Arguably a neutral. I'm going to put browns and oranges. And then these pieces here could just become, let's see, I think that could probably go with there. These pieces could probably, most of them go there. That's green, that's yellow, that's yellow. Let's put it with that one. Yellow, yellow. These pieces can go over here, down to our last few pieces. Now, you don't need to do this. This is just, I'm trying to share with you the way my brain works, basically. That's a yellow. If I put the reds, because there's not much red, I'll put them with that green, blue, teal, kind of a brown. That could go there, go there. Oh, that's a bit of split in this one. That's kind of a neutral. That could go there, there, there. So basically it's fallen into groups. So I'm going to add the green and that one neutral to that. And I'm going to add the yellows to the browns. So maybe that will become a fall or an autumn style. all of these greens could go with these greens. Yes, and then the blues I'll put to one side because they don't tend to go with this. But what I'll do is, as I said, I will make one board up and we'll cut it up. But then once the camera's off, I will use the rest and put them into my book. So this can go to one side as well. So we've got more than enough pieces here to do a 12 by 12. So I'm going to use my small guillotine because I can just use that for cutting. And then I've got a 12 by 12. This is just a 250 GSM piece of cardstock. I've got some papers here, which are just magazine pages. And I've just got a glue stick and I've got a spare because this feels like it's running low. So now I can use the pieces as they are. Not sure you're going to be able to see them really. I can use the pieces as they are, or I can cut them down. That's my choice. As we're going to try and go for a little bit of speed here, I think I'm just going to cut that one a little bit because it is huge. And I think we'll use this in two areas. Right, do excuse me if I go off camera, guys. I have found if I zoom out any further, I then get comments from people saying, oh, can you zoom in? So I'm trying to sort of hit a medium ground here. Let's just go up to the top edge. Now, I may not cut things straight, so I always make sure I can trim afterwards. So I'm just using a store card or a gift card to clean up the edges. I'm very conscious I don't want to get glue on the other side of the image, so I do tend to go through a lot of old magazine pages. I use magazine pages purely because I harvest magazines for collage, and if there's nothing on the journal page I want to keep, then you know what, it becomes a glue page. That's on there. Right, let's delve in a little bit and get some lucky dip sort of stuff. Okay, right, that can be cut down. Maybe that can be cut down into 3 pieces. So I think this will become very much a fall type looking page, and that's how this is feeling anyway. Now, there are no rules. You do what you want to do in the way you want to do it. But I find that a masterboard is far more useful to me than a pile of digitals left in a drawer, which I forget about. And having paid to print and get the paper and the ink and all of that, I would rather use them as a resource. So let's just stick that on there. So, I mean, as I've said before, I don't use a lot of digitals. I do use them occasionally, but I tend to use digitals more for labels. Like I'll buy label kits and number kits and things like that because they then bulk up my ephemera. I tend to not use kits in the theme per se unless I'm really drawn to that kit. Right, this piece can go at the bottom. Like a piece of green. Do a piece of green. I'll just chop a little bit off that. I'm not being hugely exact about how I'm cutting, and I'm only cutting because I find cutting quicker than tearing, which seems a little odd to some people, but I find I'm not the greatest with a tear ruler if I'm trying to get things straight. So I tend to err on the side of using a guillotine because I just find it faster. Although I can't say I always find it any more accurate. Right, let's turn this around so you can see the bits I've done, and we can then work on the bits I haven't done. Right, that little bit I cut off could go in somewhere later, so I'm going to put that over, just up there, just so it's out of my eyesight. Right, did I have any of this on there? No, but I don't want the stick on there, or the branch. So I'm going to take that piece and just add it to my scraps drawer, like this piece though. And I think I quite like that up there. I don't know why I'm putting stuff where I'm putting it. I'm just putting it because that's where my gut says it needs to be. And you'll also notice when I do these sort of things, I will reach for bigger pieces because it doesn't bother me that I've started with bigger pieces. I can always work my way down to smaller pieces. Right, do I like that? I do kind of like that. I think, however, I would like to cut it down a bit and chop off that dark line. Now, I'm very conscious, guys, you can't see me chopping, but there is only so much I can do as far as space goes. So I've created 2 pieces here. Is that dry? It is dry. Now, I'm reckoning out of what I've harvested here, I've probably got enough for probably about 4 masterboards, 4 12x12s. As I said, that's going to be far more useful to me than actually just keeping them in a drawer, because that's pointless for me. I'm like, why keep them in a drawer? They're a resource and they should be used. So, and I can understand if you're someone who makes a lot of journals, like I make journals, but I make them for friends, family and gifts. I don't make journals to sell. If you're someone who makes journals for sale, then having a stockpile of digitals already printed and in store ready to go is actually a really good idea, because that little piece needs to be an accent piece, because obviously you can delve into those to bulk out. Do I like that? I kind of do. To bulk out your resources. So maybe you're doing a signature and it's got a whole load of coffee dyed paper in it, and you want to put 1 or 2 coloured pages in, then that's the time that you could actually just reach for a pre-printed digital from any kit and actually just use it. So I just don't use them a lot. As you all know, I get bored really easy just doing one thing. So I do lots of different things. So I'll cycle through journals, into mixed media, into digitals, back into artwork, back into I just skip back and forth and get back and forth. And that's what I like. It keeps me interested. It keeps me joyful in my creativity. Because if I get bored, I'll just walk away from things, and that's not what I want to do. Right, do I want another piece of this? No, I think I'll put that in the scrap drawer as well. Right, here's a nice little bit. Can I find you a home? Yes, I can. I'm going to put you up there. Now, I am obviously working this way on, although you have seen me turn this around so that it's the other way up. Completely up to you whether you work in one direction, whether you work in several directions, or you keep spinning your 12x12 around. And I do tend to, especially when I'm doing mixed media work, I do tend to turn my canvas or my art page or whatever I'm creating, a background or something, I do tend to turn it around, and that's because I will never know which direction things are meant to be going in. Quite like this. I think I'd like a little bit of that blue cut off here. It's a bit too blaring for me. I think just a little slither more and it'll fit in there quite nicely. There you go. That's perfect. Or as perfect as it's going to be. So what day is it today? It's Easter Saturday here for me. So I've cooked a Sunday lunch, even though it's a Saturday. I cooked us a roast. I did a roast with trimmings and veg for my sister and I, just because we don't tend to do a lot of roast dinners in this house. That's probably because, sorry, just thinking a second. I do like that there. And that's probably because there just doesn't seem to be the time. And my sister and I, who live together, have very different sort of diets and tastes in food. So, and as I'm usually the cook in the house, it's down to my availability as to when things get cooked, to be honest with you. So, but we both cook for ourselves and we look after ourselves and stuff like that. So it's not a problem. I can't go there because that's the same thing. Yep, that'll go in the scrap drawer. I'm beginning to look for smaller pieces now because I know I've got them. That might go there. Just because if a scrap is really small and it goes into my scrap drawer, sometimes it just ends up getting damaged or crumpled, or it's never seen. It makes its way to the bottom of the craft drawer, the scrap drawer, and it never sees the light of day again. Right, let's have a quick look over here. So let's pull some of these in and you can see what I'm looking at. Right, I don't want that. That might be nice. Those are too big for the bits I'm using. That might add a bit of drama, so let's put that one by there. That's a little bit that might become a top piece. I quite like that. I've already got it on there, okay. Let's keep a couple of the strips back. That's too big. Now, I don't think I want to introduce these colours. They would go, but I'm not feeling that, so that can go up there. Oh, that would go very nicely. These are the wrong sort of green. That could just be a top piece. That and that don't feel right. This lot does. Right, let's see where we're at with all of this. Right. I quite liked this. Right, let's chop that off there. And I think that can go over there. I'm not bothered that things are overlapping each other. It's collage. If I'm trying to keep the bulk down in a journal, I will be a little more picky about overlapping stuff that's maybe cardstock. But this is just printed onto presentation paper, which is slightly heavier than copier paper. So I'm going to come up just ever so slightly because there's a line on that image I don't like. So, right. I quite liked this. I'd like to trim that edge off there. And I think I need to chop that off there. And that can go by there. So yeah, great way of using up scraps, guys, patterned or plain, because on the other side of this, I may just use plain coffee dyed paper scraps or plain book page scraps, just so that this can be a writing surface, because I don't tend to have white areas on my journal cards. Right, let's start looking at these smaller pieces. Right, I didn't mind that, just that little touch of something there, because if I put it there, it might get covered up by that anyway. So I get that on there. So I start with big pieces, I work to smaller pieces. Right, I did have this little rose, which could quite easily go there, but I need something across there. Why do I think I saw a strip of something somewhere? I thought I saw a really thin strip. What have I done with that thin strip? Did you see it? Where is it? I did see the thin strip, but that doesn't feel like the right colour anymore, that red. Ah, there you go. I knew I'd seen a thin strip somewhere. So if I put that across there, that will go there. Right, let's get that on the page. Now, obviously, as I say in almost every one of my videos, guys, you're in control of the buttons. If you don't want to keep on watching, fast forward to the end and see the results. I'm never going to object to that. In fact, I do that sometimes with videos I watch. I'll skip ahead to maybe when the creator changes to a different technique, or they've finished maybe a mundane thing like gluing down, which this is. Precious time is precious. I watch quite a few YouTubes. I would rather spend the time watching the sections of the YouTubes that I'm really enjoying than watching the same process repeated and repeated, says he, doing repeat and repeat here. Right, I've got this piece lurking over here. If I cut that down a bit, I think you can possibly go in there. So as a habit, I do tend to stock quite a lot of bases. So because obviously I make a lot of videos, and some of those videos are decorating videos, so therefore I don't want to just bore people to death by showing them how to do the same backgrounds all the time. I wonder whether I want to put that in there somewhere. Oh, that goes in there. That covers every little bit of problem there. So I do tend to make a lot of bases that are partially decorated, so that then if I am going to do a journal or a project with a theme, I can quite easily just jump in and use a background and then add more to that background. Right, now we've got our bases here, or our base, should I say. I want to add a few strips into it because I've noticed that we do have things like this really interesting strip. I would quite easily put that across there because that's exactly where I'm going to put it. Just because I want my pieces to look interesting. So therefore, the more elements I add into them, the more interesting they become. I'm not worried about lining stuff up with other stuff, but I do want to make sure that it makes logical sense to me. So I had a couple of those strips around. Right, this one's probably not going to be used because it's already on there in several places. What was this strip? Excuse my arm here. Well, that was that red strip. Right, that was another red strip. I don't mind this one though, because that's already on there. Not feeling that. Maybe we're done. Are we done? Oh, there was this little piece here, wasn't there? Right, is there anything that's really jumping out at me as being annoying? I think that is. I don't really like that. Nothing personal, just happens to be. I'd rather not have that inside. So I'm going to put a piece across there. There you go. That just, it's no longer drawing my focus. Right, I'm going to save our little ladies because I can put these on afterwards. And I think what we're going to do is I'm going to pause the video for 2 seconds for you, a little bit longer for me, because I want to turn this over and make sure I've trimmed this edge off here, and it's easier for me to do it when I can pick it up away from the camera. And then we're not done just yet. I'm going to pull these pieces back to one side over here, because once the journal cards are cut up, maybe there will be little pieces where I'm like, ooh, that just needs a little bit of extra something. So bear with me 2 seconds, guys. Okay, and I'm back. So I've trimmed up all the edges so it's nice and neat on the back. I would normally, if I was doing this without you watching, I would collage plain book page or plain papers onto the back. Things like strips of coffee or tea-dyed paper just to make it a writing surface, but I'm going to hang off on doing that because I don't really know. Some of these may become pockets or tuck spots, so I will actually just glue the backing on as and when I need it. So I need to bring in my big guillotine, and we need to think what we want to do with this. So it's a 12 by 12. Let's turn this over so we're going to have some surprises. So I think I want to cut this at 8. So this will give me a 4-inch piece. I'm hoping this is going to give me nice clean edges. Trouble is, of course, what have I got? I've got wet glue, so I'm hoping it's not going to cause too much problems. So that's 8. Let's do 5. No, let's do 4.5. Remember, I'm making, oh, I've stuck to something. I didn't realise that was wet glue. Remember, I'm doing journal cards, which I need to remind myself of. So this is 3.5. Let's do 3.5 by 5. We'll look at them in a minute. And what's this? I do... So I'm having a bit of a thought here. I think I'm going to cut this at... How long is that? So that could be a tall journal card. Let's not hack that one to death, shall we? Right, so that's 4.5, and this is by 12. So if I do this at 5.5, and that's just over 6. So if I do 3.25 maybe, that'll give me 2 smaller journal cards. Then I've got this one. I think this was the 4-inch. It was 4. So let's make a couple of 6-inch ones. Right, clear the decks. So, yes, I would also recommend letting your glued things dry completely, a bit stuck to me, before you start cutting them up. Right, let's see what we've ended up with. So, that's nice. It feels like it needs to go that way. Feels like that needs to tidy up as well. So I'm just trimming as I see it, guys, because if I don't trim it now, I will forget, or I may not notice. Where did the piece go? There we are. Right, so this feels like it goes this way on, which is good. That's that way on. I'd like to trim that off because I don't know if you see there's a really thin edge on there. That's just gonna annoy me, and because it's a really thin edge, it could potentially unstick anyway. So that goes in that orientation. Okay, the leaves are going upwards. Again, that needs a bit of a trim. I'm just manicuring, guys. I'm just trying to make sure. I'm not looking for perfect, but I'm not looking for shoddy either. Okay, that's okay. Pity the tops are off those flowers, but you know what? That's life. Okay, this could be any direction I choose it to be. The only directional thing is there. So large one. Again, I wouldn't want this edge here. It would just annoy me, so that's going to have to be trimmed down. This is just me and the way my brain is wired. Good grief. How many layers was there? It was about 3 layers there. That's what it took some doing. I love this little cutter, I really do. But sometimes when there's multiple layers, no. Right. Because of the orientation of chocolate, it makes me think it needs to be this. How wide is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right, it's too big to be a pocket. Maybe it does need to be that way on. Right, we'll think about that one. Like that edge there is going to really annoy me because it looks like I've missed a bit. When I haven't, it's actually just the edge of the design. And that's got a bit to go. Right, let's see if I want to add any little strips of anything to anything just before I finish this up. How am I doing for time? I should be fine. Right, this one to me needs something. Actually, she looks like she'd be rather nice on something, doesn't she? Is this the only one with that colour on it? Actually, no, this one. That looks lovely there. If I just pop that element on there, that'll make that one step closer to finishing. So not fully decorated, just on their way. Okay, that would just need a little bit of a label, maybe something, and then that one would be almost done. Right, this one. What am I going to do with you? Right, let's pull in some of these other pieces. No, we decided they were wrong, didn't we? This just feels like I want to cover this word up with something. I don't mind these, funnily enough. It's just, it's that word, because I can take that as a background. This, however, feels like it needs to be covered. So I'm just going to cut that off a little bit. A little bit more. Right, let's get this stuck down. And I think I want it on that way around. So that's straightish. Okay, that's all right. This one will need something up here. This one is going to bother me. I keep looking at this going, oh, I can add that, but she's going to look very weird looking up over something, so she'll get used, but maybe just not now. I don't think that sort of kind of is asking for something there. Maybe it isn't. Maybe it's my imagination. No, I think that will just stay as a base. I don't want to mess with that. That's okay. And I think these are okay. Yeah, I think we're doing okay. Right, let me put all this one side. I don't need to add anything more to these. I don't even know how long this video has been, so I know. Let's just put these to one side. These are my bases, and let's just finish this one for you. Let me just go and grab some stuff. Right, I just pulled in I've got some Rachel Bellacraft elements left from a project I did. Got some Tracy Fox labels, and I've just got some elements, look, bits and pieces. So actually, I'm seeing something I like already. Okay, well, that was easy. Is there anything else in here I like the look of? Oh, she's got blue in her eyes. No, I like the green better. Sorry, you're out of shot, aren't you? See, something like that would also work. I like this, let's just pop that little sucker down, shall we? Just a little tiny bit of a ink around the edges for no other reason. I just want to cover up the white core of the paper, which is where I cut it. So let's just pop you down and pull this down a bit so I can see where it's going. So that's straight. So straight as it's going to be. I do think I want a label across there as well. That's too big. What's this? I'm trying to find a label that isn't specifically something. Your letter of February 25th enclosing fragments of one butterfly captured in Arizona is duly received. The butterfly is whatever that word is there. Okay, I never even thought to read that. It's too big anyway. Right. Maybe I don't need one of those labels. Oh, actually, what's that there? Sorry, guys. I mean, I wasn't planning to decorate. That's why my brain just isn't really with us at the moment. I'll know it when I find it. That's the big problem with doing something like this. I'm trying to avoid things like that. Oh, actually, there's something with blue on it. think that might do. Is there anything else I want to put on here? So have a quick look in this box before I dive into sticking something down. She'll like that better. Right, is that a sticker? I've got a feeling it's a sticker. Are you going to be a sticker that comes off is the question. You are going to be a sticker that comes off. It's like a washi sticker. Don't know where half of these come from, guys. They're just, I've accumulated my stash over several years. Let's just put it that way. And also some are Happy Mail, or they've been included in stuff that I've done in swaps. So I can't answer the question of where did you get that from. If I know, I will always share with you, but not in this instance. Right, I do feel I want something down here, like a number or just a something. What does this say? New Zealand, da 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 da. Maybe it's not something I want. Oh, actually, it's March. This feels like the right thing to place. I just don't know where to place it. Maybe it's not the right thing. Oh, there's another brown thing. Oh, I think that will work. I was looking for something wider. That was my issue with this. Let's just... Right, this is another one of those stickers, I think. I'm quite good with washi style stickers. It's flower stickers I struggle with most of all. God, I'm making a hash of the glue though. Okay, she seems to be missing something, and I don't know what it is. And just round the corners. Let's see, 7 mil. Let's just round the 7 mils. Okay, that makes it feel a little better. Maybe I need to ink it. It's just, there's something just feels like it's missing from it. Oh, actually, this inks up really nicely. I'd forgotten that. Right, that's getting better. I'm wondering whether I want to put a butterfly there. It seems a bit predictable, but it might be the right thing in this instance. Right, I'm going to pull in some of my butterflies, the ones that I make out of book pages. Yes, I'll put the link to this video down below in the description box, because it's not an old video. I know exactly where I can find it. I'd like something either blue or book page-ish. I can always turn one of these into a book page colour. Is that too dark? Sorry, I'm really in a dithering mood today, aren't I? I apologise. Oh, look, that's got all the colours already in here. Oh, you know what? Let's just be brave. Go big, go home. Right, I think that's going to go on there. I like the way this sort of comes down in a line. Let's just put this on, and no, I'm not going to ink the edges of this. Why dull it down when I want something bright? So I just need to hold it up to me so I can actually see what I'm doing. Okay, right, I need to draw some antennae in. I'm just using a fine liner. This is a uni pin, and I like to draw my antennae in after I've done them. That should have been inked. It feels like it should have been inked. I wonder. Right, let's show you a sneaky trick if I can do it. Where's my stuff gone? Right, got myself a post-it note. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my post-it note up against the image, and then I'm going to just gently go over the edge. I'm going to lift it up, put that back down again, go over the edge there, and do the same there. And that way I've inked the edge of the image, but I'm not inked the thing itself. And I could always come in with a pen and maybe draw a frame around it or something like that if that's what I choose to do. So I think, let's have a quick tidy up here because I've got stuff absolutely everywhere. I think that will do. That's one made. These will go into my stash, as I said, and they'll become whatever they become. But hopefully you enjoyed that. As I said, I'm going to go on now and finish off making the other two backgrounds. Unfortunately, you may not see them unless I share them on social media. So thank you, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Just killing a Saturday morning, to be honest with you. I'm Ceri the Crafter. That's Ceri the Crafter. Until next time, goodbye now.